channel. Today I'm going to be attempting to sew a dress from this fabric here that I found at the thrift store yesterday for only $15. While we're here, I also wanted to share the other things that I found because it was probably my best thrift store weekend ever. Firstly, I found this carafe, which I've been wanting one of these for quite some time, and I had actually just ordered one off of Etsy. I received the one that I ordered in the mail just yesterday, and I guess I have two now, but I'm not complaining. I also picked up the full Twilight series in very nice condition. They're hardcover, and I really just could not pass them up. Twilight is so nostalgic for me. Lastly, I found this gorgeous oil painting. The thrift store that I got this at is actually kind of expensive, and a lot of their paintings were going for $50 to $100, but I got this for $30, and I definitely think it is worth it. So that's my little thrift haul. Let's get into the sewing. This fabric is calling my name. Since this fabric is so gorgeous with the bold print and all of the shininess going on, I'm going to keep the design of the dress quite simple. I'll be doing some thin straps, either a sweetheart or square neckline, and a simple skirt that comes out a little bit. And I think I'll make it a mini skirt length. These are the bodice pattern pieces that I will be using. However, I will be making a bit of a change and adding more fabric so that it goes something more like that. Here are my bodice pieces. I wanted to pattern match, but it was going to waste too much fabric, and I think this will look fine as it is. Once I sewed these pieces together, I realized they needed a bit of attention up at the top. I made some adjustments by bringing in the seams. Here's what it looked like after. Here is the side that I made some adjustments on, and see how it's starting to create shape for the bust, and this one's really just lying flat, and I had this whole awkward area, so I pretty much brought in here and here, and then I cut this into a slightly different shape over here on this side. And now this fits against the shape of my body much better. I'm going to undo the stitches here. I just did a light basting stitch. And then I am going to compare these pieces and cut these to the right shape. So I'm sorry if this is hard to see, but I took apart all the pieces and I layered the pieces which I adjusted here. And you can see that the shape is actually quite different. I'm going to go in and trace all of my fixed up pieces into a new pattern for the future. Before that, I'm going to cut the unadjusted pieces to the same size and shape, of course. I'm also going to do that with the lining pieces. I serged all of the edges since this fabric frays a lot and sewed the pieces together. I did the same for the lining. Now I am working on the straps. I went ahead and prepared the first one here, and to create the second one, I'm going to take a 2-inch wide strip of fabric, and then I'll be folding in the ends evenly, like so. And then you fold those two halves together and sew all the way down. And then I flip it over and sew down again. As you can see on the one that I already prepared, there are 2 rows of stitching going all the way down. I used my iron to flatten down all of the seams on both the outer layer and the shell fabric. I'm going to put some stitchable boning alongside the seams of the outer layer. Here is the top with the boning in it. It's giving it just a nice bit of structure, and it will give me more support when I'm wearing it. I went ahead and sewed the boning underneath the seam allowance here. And then I sewed down the other side of the seam as well, just to give it a nice even appearance. Up close, maybe you can see the stitching going down one side and also the other. The next step will be to sew the lining and the shell right sides together.
Leave those little top parts open.
Now that the lining and the shell layer are sewed together along this top edge, I'm going to insert the straps. I'm just going to put them between the two layers and all the way up through this opening here. Now that the strap is in place, I'm going to sew some stitches across it, like kind of creating a V. Here we've got the straps in. I think that they turned out very, very nicely. Now we just need to make sure that the lining doesn't poke out from behind the outer fabric. And I'm going to do that by opening up the two layers and stitching the seam allowance to the lining super, super, super closely along all of the edges that I can reach. Here's where we are so far with the bodice, and I think it is turning out to be very pretty. I think that the boning was a good decision. I decided not to put interfacing into this piece just because the upholstery fabric is pretty thick and sturdy. Here is the back. I definitely made it a bit big, so I'll be taking that in a little bit when I add the zipper. The skirt will be made up of these three pieces, one large one for the front and two halves for the back, so that when they meet, we can add a zipper. Here I just sewed and serged along each edge, and I made sure that this length, that these two side seams match up perfectly with the side seams of the bodice.
Here I am pinning the bodice and the skirt right sides together, matching up those side seams and sewing all the way across. Now I'm adding in the invisible zipper. Next, it's time to add the straps to the back of the dress. I previously had them safety pinned. I just seam ripped a hole for them to go into and inserted the strap in right between the two layers of fabric. I then folded over the lining and I pinned the strap in place. Then I just sewed everything down along this line.
Next, I need to finish off this zipper. I need to close up the bottom of the skirt here, just sew all the way down, and I'm going to hem it. I'm probably going to shorten it by about 3 inches. To finish off the zipper, we're going to take the lining out and then you flip it down and you sew along the zipper teeth, and it will create a nice clean finish up at the top.
Here I'm finishing off the invisible zipper and cutting off the excess, then sewing the skirt closed.
I am now down to the last little bit of my project. It's inside out right now. I am going to fold and iron down the edges of the lining, and then I will be hand sewing them all the way around. I'll just do a little double rolled hem.
I'm so happy with how this dress turned out. Please give this video a like if you like the dress too, and thank you so much for watching.